What is going on, everybody? This is Chris with PATCHBOYDARB, Patches for the Culture. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to thread your Brother SE625. I'm also going to show you how I go about replacing my bobbin when the bobbin runs empty. Without further delay, let's get to it. So with starting off at the top of the machine, how we're going to go about threading our little orange spool. First thing we want to do is we want to put our spool onto this little spool holder right here, like so. If you wanted to, you could add a spool cap on the end of this so that way it feeds nicely. But from my experience, when you get these Madeira threads, these little mini comb threads, it feeds quite well without having that spool cap on it. The next thing we want to do is we want to follow the instructions that are labeled on top of the Brother SE625. So what it's showing us to do is to take some of our thread. It wants us to clip it right in there like so. Looking at the number 2, it wants us to come underneath this rectangular piece into this canal here, as you guys can see. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to come down this first canal on the right, and also you can see the number 3 right here. It wants us to come down and curve under it, and then it wants us to come back up the canal, as you can see. And now from the top you can see the number 4 right here. There's the number 4. It wants us to come up this right side, come over to the left, and then it wants us to come down. You can see that it curves around that little metal arm. It's kind of dark in there. It's hard to get some lighting in there to where you guys can fully see it, but it is going around that lever arm. And now it wants us to come down. So now you can see right here the number 5. It wants us to keep going down. And then if you look in there, right there on the needle is the number 6. So right there on the number 6, you can see the number 6 right there on the needle. It wants us to clip our thread right in here like so. There's a little tab in which you will have the thread clip into. So you can see right there, the thread is clipped into that little clip. Now for number 7, it wants us to come into this crevice. We gotta you always gotta make sure the thread is going into that crevice, and then it's going to go into the crevice of number 7. Just like that. So now after 7, you see we got our thread. The next step is we're gonna take our excess thread and cut it on number 8. You can see the number 8 right there. So I'm gonna take my thread, I'm gonna go ahead and snip it. So the next step after number 8 is step 9, which is our lever. And when we pull down this lever, it is going to feed the thread through the eye of the needle. So I'm going to do a zoom down view first so you guys can see. So I'm gonna go ahead and push it down, and it threaded the needle, if you guys can see that. So see there, it did thread the needle. I'm going to do it one more time for you guys to see it up close. So right now I'm in number 6. I'm gonna take it into 7. I'm going to snip it on number 8, and now I'm going to pull down the lever, which is step number 9. So let's pull down that lever. As you can see, the automatic threader worked, and our thread is through our needle. Now that the machine is threaded, let's say that you're embroidering and all of a sudden your bobbin thread runs out. Let me show you guys what happens when the bobbin thread runs out. I got an empty bobbin inside of the bobbin housing. So that way it's going to trigger the sensor that indicates that the bobbin is empty. So let me show you guys that real quick. As you can see right there on our screen, it says that the bobbin thread is almost empty. So here are the steps that I take when I'm in the middle of an embroidery and I need to change my bobbins. The first thing I do is I hit the OK button over here, indicating that I acknowledge that the bobbin thread is almost empty. The next step that I do is right up in here. What I do is I hit the scissor button. It's because it's going to cut the upper thread and the remaining bobbin thread. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that button. What I like to do is I like to raise my presser foot lever. My lever right in here. So I raise the presser foot. And now what I come through is I come over here on the side. What I do is I release the tab that's holding the embroidery hoop into place. And then I just gently lift up on my embroidery hoop, like so. And then I'll just move my embroidery hoop out the way. You can see that upper thread cut it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this little plastic window that's keeping my bobbin from flying out of the bobbin housing. So if I pull that tab, you will see the window pops up a little bit. Now I'm going to move that window out of the way. Now that the window's gone, I'm going to come in and I'm going to pick up my empty bobbin here. You can see it's empty. I'm going to go ahead and put that away. Now I'm going to bring in my new bobbin right here. It's not exactly full, but it'll get the job done. And so with replacing the bobbin, there are indication marks on the plate. So there is this little spool indication mark that shows you how the spool should be set. And it also shows you the direction of the curve that it should go. So when we set our bobbin in, we're going to have it come right through this little curve here. And it's going to come up this canal. It's going to come through here. And when it comes to this point right here, it's going to snip the excess thread. So I got my bobbin facing the correct direction as indicated on this little indication down here. I'm going to set my bobbin in there like so. I'm going to come through this little tab here. There is a little indication tab right here. You see the arrow curving up towards the left. So I'm going to have the thread tuck under there, if I can get it. So I got the thread tucked under there. Now I'm going to follow this canal all the way to the point where it cuts the thread. Now after that, all I got to do is come back in with my bobbin housing window. Place that back into place. So there's a little tab right here on the bobbin window. You want that tab to slide underneath that little metal part right in here. And then you'll push it down on the right side and it'll click into place. You will hear a clicking noise. Now that I have successfully changed my bobbin, what I would do is bring my hoop back in, slide it underneath the presser foot, and I will also clip it back into place onto the embroidery unit. There we go. It's in place. And that's going to wrap it up for this quick little video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If so, give it a thumbs up and be sure to hit that subscribe button. This has been Chris with PATCHBOYDARB, Patches for the Culture.